With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary K.
Hey everyone, this is Gary K, and welcome to another pre-InfoComm edition of my Rants and Raves video cast. Today we're joined with a company that just launched 3 new things right back to back, actually on the same day, Logitech. I'm joined with Scott Wharton, who's the general manager and vice president of Logitech's B2B team. First off, congratulations, man. You guys have made every right move from the early 2020 to now. Even before really, but you really played the pandemic really well from a strategic standpoint. So congratulations.
Thanks so much, and great to be here. And yeah, fun what we're doing, and a lot of change in the industry, which also makes it exciting.
Well, I think one thing that integrators are excited about is the fact that a lot of their clients are going back to the office and starting to use this hardware that we've had available for a long time. And of course, the Rallybar series has been really well known and sort of has its own brand, even outside the Logitech brand, since it was launched. But just last week, you launched a new Huddle version of it. Talk about what that is and compare that to the current product line.
Yeah, so it's our newer entry in the Rallybar family for smaller rooms. Let's say up to 6. When we built Rallybar and Rallybar Mini, I would say Rallybar Mini was more of a derivative for Rallybar, so it's a great product, but it wasn't necessarily optimized from a cost point of view for smaller rooms. So part of the analogy there is Rallybar Huddle is to Tesla what the Model 3 is, in that you could look at it compared to Rallybar and say, all right, Rallybar's got more features, it's a little bigger,
right?
But the Model 3 was designed to be mass market, go everywhere. That's exactly what we did with Rallybar Huddle, where it's got a great price performance at about 60% of the price of Rallybar Mini, but it's actually got more horsepower under the hood than Rallybar to do some of these AI things. So it's not just a dumbed down, cheaper version. It's super powerful for AI, and but it hits a great price point that I think can go in every single room.
And well, let me ask you about, because when I think Huddle, I also think spaces, not just rooms. And some of the AI should make it where it'll do well in not enclosed spaces as well, where you can do some of the blocking of some of the things that are distracting visually and audio wise.
Yeah, in fact, we have these cool features. One of them is called camera zone, where we can actually block out people that are walking outside of a certain zone. So we're using AI, if you think about it, in an open space, or even quite frankly, if there's a conference room and sometimes there's glass. And I think many of us in the industry have struggled with, all right, someone's walking by.
Yeah.
Are they a human being in the meeting or not? We can actually block that out using AI and specify it. So that's a cool new feature.
So do you still see it if you're in the meeting live? You still see it, but the camera just doesn't pay attention to it.
It basically says ignore it. Don't change the camera. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a hot product. Obviously, at InfoComm, you're going to be at InfoComm booth 3071. So that'll be one of the products you have at InfoComm. My personal favorite from last week, although I believe the Rallybar Huddle is going to be massively popular, is one that is the Logitech Doc Flex. And that's a new derivative of the Logitech Doc series, which is probably my favorite product in the last 3 or 4 years that's come out in the industry. Talk about what the Flex is and what's different. I mean, one thing that's obviously different about it is when you look at it right away, you see that there's a screen, right? So it clearly looks different than what you've had before.
Yeah. So when we started out in the dock business, we always knew we were going to build 2. So we said, all right, when you're at home, you want a big speakerphone, and you want something and you really probably don't need Ethernet at home, because 90-something% of people use Wi-Fi.
Right.
Whereas in the workspace, you don't want a speakerphone because that would annoy the hell out of people walking by you in an open space. And you wanted something more like digital signage, more like a mini tap, like a personal tap usage. So we had a divergence of requirements. And as we talked to people, we realized there was no really good piece of equipment for people who were using flexible desking. People use QR codes or other things, and there were services, but there was nothing there that allowed you to dock, have management, have meeting controls. So we essentially kind of built this, like we did with a lot of things, from the ground up with a white sheet of paper, and said, what should flexible desk look like in the modern world? Now, I think the good thing is, moving past the pandemic, most people are moving away from permanent desks.
Yeah.
and they don't know how to do this. So I think part of why this is so exciting is that this is a huge problem for the world to solve. And as we talk to people, most of them are scratching their heads saying, I don't know what to do. And I think we've been talking to people in the industry, customers, people who do desk booking, and they basically described this thing. So we've been working on it for years. So excited to get it out and finally hit the market into an area where people are also looking at us and going, Logitech, I thought you did conference rooms. Like, what is this? What is this new flexible desk thing?
Well, it's funny because we actually had that exact issue where we went from we literally downsized our office because so many people are working from home most of the time. And we have that exact issue where we have flexible workspaces. So I see this product working. As soon as it came out, I immediately sent it to the team and said, I see this product working for us really well. So I definitely think that's going to be very popular. But one thing that's kind of interesting is sort of a side note to the release. And again, I would encourage everyone to go to the Logitech booth 3071 at InfoComm here coming up here in a week and a half. But as a side note to the press release, you also talked about a software application that really has nothing to do, although can be used with the Flex. It can be as a standalone application, and it's free. And it allows our industry and also those who use the products in our industry to kind of get into that space that you're talking about, that hot desking space and the ability to manage those spaces.
Yeah. So one of the things we realized as we were going down the path of this and desk booking is that we knew that equipment alone wasn't going to solve the problem, that you needed a service. And we actually acquired a company a couple of years ago, specifically in this space that had a cloud service. And then we started working on the combined solution. So this is kind of the outcome of that acquisition and integrating it into the VC group. So part of what we launched is it's a cloud service that does desk booking. And I think what's interesting about it is it's a fully rich cloud service that is tightly integrated with Logitech Doc Flex, but it also works without Logitech Doc Flex. So quite frankly, you don't even need to buy our hardware. So I think some people may go, all right, it's locked in, I have to use it. No, we think it will work better together, but you actually can use it separately. You can use it with QR codes, or, it doesn't have to work with our hardware at all. That's number one. Number two is it's completely free. So this is not like a short-term plan. What we announced is the end user functionality will be free forever. So anybody who wants to use it and download it, you can use it. And then eventually we'll have some premium features on the IT side, but that we also announced will be free until July 1st of 2024. So it gives people enough of time to use it. We think in and of itself, I think it's going to be super compelling.
Yeah.
Partly also because you'd say, why do we build this service? Well, part of what we realized is that people didn't just need to book desks. One of the issues you have is, all right, if I book a desk and I come into the office three times and there's no one there and I'm on a video call, you're just going to stay at home. So what we realized is we actually needed to build something more than a desk booking. I would almost call it a social network for the office. In that you need to figure out, are your colleagues there? If they're not there, can you invite them? So there's this whole social network element to it, which again, people like Logitech social network. What is Scott talking about? But I think what we realize is you go into the office to meet people, not just to sit in a desk anymore. So we built that whole element as part of that. And I think that's part of the exciting integration between the two.
Well, I got some questions about this that I know you're probably not going to answer, but I got to ask them anyway because I'm thinking about it the way
I might answer them. You never know.
An integrator, an end user, an IT manager might look at it. Like, for example, if I'm already on Slack, why couldn't you pre-populate those contacts from Slack and then allow me to create that network that you're talking about through Slack? So I already know who's there and who's not there, or for that matter, Zoom or any of the platforms where people are communicating with messaging.
I mean, you could do that, but I would call that a hack. It's like, all right.
But what if you integrated it into the software so that we don't have to have another messaging service? Is that something you thought about?
Well, it's not really a messaging service. I would say we've integrated in with people who have Outlook or Google Calendar.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The difference is if you want to book a desk, what you want to do is an easy way to figure out, all right, who's already sitting around the desk. Slack doesn't give you that. Doesn't tell you where they're sitting.
Correct. That's true. Yeah.
Unless
they use that feature, which nobody does.
Exactly. Well, I don't even think it exists. So basically you use the same Tune app for all of our other VC applications. And then you could see, all right, where are people sitting? Is the desk I usually want to sit in available? You can see if your colleagues are there. And if they're not there, you can easily invite them or book them or reserve an area. So there are all these features that are around kind of putting people together. Whereas today it's like I might IM you and go, hey Gary, are you going to be there?
Yeah.
Send it out to 10 people. It's a lot of noise and spam and pretty inefficient.
Yeah. I think well, you mentioned the tuna. Did you put Logitune inside of this too?
So Logitune would be the booking app, and also pretty cool. So you can go in and book, find out who's there, and actually has mapping in there for the office. So it can actually, sometimes you don't know, where is my desk? How do I find it?
Very
So
cool.
it'll lead you to it with wayfinding. So
Okay.
it's totally integrated in with Tune and our backend sync. But also I should point out that for Logitech Doc Flex, it also is completely open. So it works with Microsoft Teams and Zoom, and the idea is it can work with others. So there are a lot of people listening here saying, but Scott, I already have Teams or Zoom or something else. The nice thing about Teams is that it's exactly the same client that people use today for our room scheduling.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with that, it literally is the same software. You can use that for booking. And Zoom has a huge investment in desk booking already.
Yeah.
So we're leveraging that. So we have the Zoom client integrated. So again, it's part of our focus on choice. Like, yes, we have our own software, but we have a great partnership with Microsoft and Zoom, and we'll have others in the future that you can use if you're already using them.
And you mentioned the digital signage functionality kind of the Flex. In a way, that while it's not being used could be a digital sign, or while it's in sort of standby mode. Is that built into the software as well? And is that some sort of like content client there, or do you use whatever you want to use?
No, it is. In fact, one of the early discussions I had with people in the industry is I was talking to someone who worked at a co-working space.
Mm-hmm.
And they said one of the biggest issues where people literally have fist fights is that someone comes into a desk, they book it, they go away for lunch, and then someone comes in and takes it. And then that person goes, hey, that's my desk.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. Where's your name on it?
Yeah.
People literally get into fights. They have the IT come over. So the ability to kind of say, I'm out to lunch. This is my desk. I've got it reserved. Having IT policies, like, kind of sounds nice to have. But I think, avoiding fist fights, that's kind of a nice value add for HR.
You would hope that wouldn't happen in a work environment, but
yeah,
this is gonna. So look, here's the thing. For those that are end users watching this, you get it. You already got it. You're going to buy this. You're going to use it. There's no question, and you're going to get software for free. So, but for the integrators out there that don't understand software, they made this easy for you by adding a piece of hardware onto it called Flex. So now you can understand how to sell the software, which is free. So you don't have to sell it. You just got to say, hey, use this software. So you can see the logic in that. I think it's genius from Logitech's side for you to come up with that idea, whether it was your idea, Scott, or your marketing teams or whoever's, is phenomenal. It's going to be very popular. Both hardware products are going to do very well. Obviously, when you're giving away the software, the IT people are going to love this because they like the idea of managing this stuff and organizing it. And I guess I should ask the security question, right? Obviously, Logitech, you take this very seriously, but I'm sure that it's got a very high level of security built into it. Yeah, we do high level security. It's a lockdown device. It's also locked down with policies in sync. We do third party testing, pen testing, for those who know what it is, to kind of try to hack it. So there's very high level of security. I would also add, just if you're an AV deal or integrator, we get asked all the time, how do I add more revenue? How do I do more beyond the room? So I think this is just a very natural extension to room booking. Yeah, managing it. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I would say is part of the value of Flex is not just in the docking, because a lot of people say, all right, Scott, I can get a dock from cheap dock online on Amazon, or I can get it built into a monitor. And part of what I would say is almost a new category. We're calling it a managed dock, because most of the existing docks don't give you any information, any telemetry at all.
Only a MAC address.
They don't give you anything. So people steal stuff. You come into the desk, it's broken.
Yeah.
And part of what we hear from the IT people all the time is, how do I even know if anyone's actually using the desks? And today the answer is you don't. So I think if people are looking for just a dock, they probably, quite frankly, won't like this. But if they're looking for a managed dock that has this information telemetry, that can give people internally some data about, all right, are people really using the desks in the office or not? I think this is going to be a great functionality, and it's a little bit more than a traditional dock, but not that much more.
Yeah, and there's so many features you could add onto this with some third-party integration and sensors and things. I mean, I see this going so many different directions. I think it's genius. Scott Wharton, the general manager, vice president of Logitech's B2B group. I really appreciate you joining me. I know you're really busy. You're traveling right now, so I appreciate you jumping on this, and thank your team for that as well. And of course, we'll all be at InfoComm, and they'll be in booth 3071. You won't miss them. But in the meantime, you can see all of our InfoComm coverage at ravepubs.com/InfoComm. And of course, you can always check out Logitech at logitech.com. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Rave Radio with Ray.